Today's interview with Steph is brought to you by our watering holes, TomandDanWateringHoles.com. That is a one-stop shop for all of our bar partners all across the state.
Yep, we've got Dirty Laundry, a new watering hole that's in between Little Indies and Will's Pub.
Yeah, it's super cool because it is described as a metal and punk rock tiki bar, and I know that's right up y'all's alley.
Yep. There's also Toll Road Brewing in Ocoee. So if you live near Ocoee, swing by Toll Road. They make delicious beers, the seltzers. It's a great place.
2 locations at Hourglass. You do have Cafe Da Vinci in DeLand. Do you want to hit the benefit?
Yeah, Cafe Da Vinci is doing a benefit for actually a person that went to high school with Daniel.
Yeah, my buddy Steve. And most everybody knows this particular individual, and there's a nice little benefit on the 24th that you can go to. I will be there, and you got the details.
Yeah, they got a 50-50 raffles, auctions. They're just raising money. And it, like we said, they're friends of ours. And if you swing by and donate some to us for a great cause,
come hang out
to help Steve.
Yeah, come out and help my buddy Steve Bradley. Also, Salty Sisters Bar and Grill. That is another good buddy of ours. I think you're seeing sort of the theme here is a lot of buddiness here.
Yeah.
But this is our friend Tiffany, and we love her. And she's an amazing business owner and a great person. You can go to her bar, get a smash burger, and drink beers right on the beach.
Ailstone Brewing in Longwood. Get that 50% off the pizzas Monday through Thursday.
Yeah, you got West End Trading Company, which you know about, Johnny's Other Side, and Johnny's Bar Out Back. Man, when's the last time you've been to Johnnyville? Well, I went there last weekend and had an amazing time. And you know what? Football's right around the corner, so if you're looking for TVs, he's got them.
And, of course, Tuffy's, the Music Box, Moe's Comedy Jam was September 15th, and we're going to be out there. So check out all of our watering holes at TomandDanWateringHoles.com. She's going to be at the Improv tonight. A one show only, so get your tickets.
Snag the tickets now.
If you're in Tampa, you can see her.
That's true.
The 8th and the 9th.
Yeah. We got a lot of guys. If you do miss it, because I know it might be short notice for you, but I would jump on it because I'm so excited to have you here. We're all like super excited to have comedians back in person in our studio.
Yep. Steph Tolev is here. How you doing, Steph?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having
me.
me.
Appreciate you being here.
So we purposely made this a separate show, a separate podcast, so we can curse. So feel free to whatever.
Wait, are you guys normally like a clean?
No,
or something? Okay.
Well, technically, we do like 3 different shows. So we do a Friday free show, which is uncensored, and then we do
kind of how we started, like in 2009. We started doing this Uncensored Friday show.
We do a corporate show, which is for terrestrial radio, which those guys were just doing with us. And then we also have a listener, like a Patreon, but it's not a Patreon. It's like a paid subscribe service that's also uncensored.
Okay, yeah. Because if you're a censored kind of person, don't fucking come to my show. I hate to brag it to you. You ain't gonna like it. I'm terrified of Florida. I don't want to like make everyone not come. But
no, you're fine.
I've had horrendous shows in Florida.
Oh, no.
Really?
I've had nothing but I was at Dania Beach Improv last time I was here.
Okay.
And a man stood up 3 minutes into my first set and asked if I was a man or woman. And I'm like, am I getting trolled to my fucking face? Like, I get that online all the time. I don't give a shit. I'm like, my clit's bigger than your dick. Like, I said something back that I thought was hilarious, but I was like, it was really alarming. And then I made like a Trump joke, which I'm not political. I made like a loose throwaway line. And then a guy told me he had a gun on him.
Oh my God.
I was like, what is happening?
You had a guy not in Florida, but you did have a guy throw a chair at you.
In Milwaukee? Oh, no, a guy threw a chair at me in L.A.,
That's
but he
crazy.
half-heartedly threw it. I remember listening to that. Yeah.
What you just described is on our state flag.
It's terrible. I don't know. Whatever. Everyone said Orlando and Tampa are way better than Miami.
Yeah.
So
well, we're just cities,
this.
right? So I feel like we get like...
Well, it's
and
all
we're an entertainment
separate.
city. You know, with Disney, we have so many actors, and we have so many performers.
Yeah,
is that what they call themselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No offense,
exactly.
Okay.
Waiters.
But it's like this with everywhere. I feel like Florida is really different places depending on, like, south of West Palm Beach is a different state than Central Florida. Even Orlando and Tampa are similar, but they have their differences. You know, because we live here, so we know it. Out of towners will be like Orlando, Tampa is similar.
I think it's sometimes though.
North Florida, South Georgia, you start to get leaking into that. So it's like, it is different. It's just like, Austin, Texas is a lot different.
Yeah.
You've done the mothership, right? You did all that. What was that experience like?
So fun. It was super cool.
Is that a cool...
Well, the club's insane.
Is it like...
Yeah, like it's just set up exactly. Whenever you go to a club, also there's one in Fort Collins called the Comedy Fort. David Rodriguez is a comedian. Also built this club. When a comedian builds a club, it's exactly what it needs to be. It's set up perfectly. The way the service comes in.
Sure.
The mothership, they lock up your phone so no one's fucking around like the whole time, like not paying attention. Like it's really... it's acoustically, it's perfect. Lighting is perfect. So it's like
awesome.
It's amazing other clubs don't just do that because they don't.
I think it is hard though. I think it takes it's like people diet and exercise, right? It's like we're all told the things that we need to do, but it is difficult to do it.
I guess
to execute it perfectly. Yeah. I feel like it did. It's
also like having like the smaller clubs. Like I'm not shitting on the improvs here, but like there's one improv I did in North Carolina, 500 seats. I'm like, who sold this out? They're like, oh, one person. I'm like, then why do you have this place? Like, not everybody's coming in, and then whoever's on stage feels like a fucking loser because I'm looking at 5 people, and then like it was funny.
Right.
So I know the cities I draw in. Okay, North Carolina ain't one of them. Right. And I like offended this older couple, and then because the room was so big, I had to watch them leave for so long. And I couldn't even get mad at them because I'm like, you won't like me. I don't know why the fuck you're here. But like watching, and I'm like 3 jokes, and all her stuff was in her purse for some reason, so she's packing up. It was a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm also like, I don't know. I'm not saying everyone in Florida doesn't like me, but it's also very hard to promote. I've been going on TikTok live a lot and like going on there. There's no crossover from TikTok to Instagram. I'm like,
there's not.
I'm like, hey, I'm coming to Florida.
Weird.
I was like, when are you coming to Florida? I'm like, I'll be there tomorrow. Are you like, no one fucking follows me on Instagram to see that I'm posting about this nonstop. Like I'm trying to get people to come out, but then, or I'll get the thing where it drives me insane. I'll go home on Monday and I'll get some DM being like, hey, when are you coming to Florida? And I'm like, I was just there, and I'll like freak the hell out because I'm like, I'm working my ass off trying to sell these tickets, and
Well, I mean, but TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them are like different variations of people or stages of their life, 100%. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it is weird. We have to do that with like little promo videos and stuff like that, just trying to get people
you hit every platform.
Yeah, and it is freaking exhausting.
It's all just scrolling mini videos. It's all
Are you into it though? Do you consume it? Like as much as you use it as a tool for like your career?
I don't know if
I'm sick of it because you have to use it so much.
I'm sick of it. I'm addicted to it, obviously, but I'm like, I try to do different videos. Like I hate those when comics like, oh, didn't see you there. Hey, I'll be in blah 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 this weekend. I fucking hate those. So I try to like do a stand up clip about where I'm going or something, or I'll do a character or something just to make something a little bit more clickable. Yeah.
Everything I make on social media that I've done recently, every single thing I make, I end up filming it or doing it, and then I delete it, and I go, "You're a fucking idiot. You're a shitbag."
I feel like a loser.
I feel
I'm
like
mortified.
I have probably 100 videos on my phone of me doing something for this show, or like even plugging. Like, hey, Steph's gonna be on the show today, like something, and then I'm like, "You fucking piece of shit."
No, I literally look back
at put that out.
No, I know. I'm like,
fucking idiot.
I know. I'm like, I'm a loser.
That's gonna hurt your show.
Yeah.
Like, and then I think, well, I'll just not do anything because I'll hurt the show. Like, that's where I'm at with social media.
I'm at the point now where I just have to. Well, because here's the thing: one of my biggest videos that went viral, my dad filmed it for me, and I remember I was like, "This sucks. Who cares?" But even my dad was like, "Who's this for?" Like he was like, "What is this?" So he wasn't laughing. He was like, "What is this?" And then I woke up the next morning. It was like my first viral hit, and I was like, "Okay." So even when I think a video is shit, it does well. And then anytime I post,
there's no rhyme or reason to what goes viral.
And anything, I think the internet's stupid, and I think the things that do go viral are so unfunny, and the things that don't go viral, I'm like, the things I will watch, like this is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life, has like 10 views. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
God, I was just telling you this yesterday. Everything I think is funny is like, no one likes it. I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna quit because this is bad.
Yeah. It's not just about whether it's funny or not. There's like
everything's subjective.
But there's also a thousand. But I even think the things that are funny the
things that are most popular are the easy digestible shit. Like think about like certain shows that get popular they're made for people. That it can go across the board for everyone, like Friends and Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I was going to say Big Bang Theory.
Favorite show.
Yeah. Oh, God. Don't come to my show if you like Big Bang Theory.
People get really offended when you say that, but it is kind of like basic bitch comedy.
Then it's just a business model of how can we appeal to the most amount of people.
Sure.
And then to do
I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but that's why those things get popular.
But that's pure business. But when it comes to viral videos, what the odd thing to me is some viral videos are super funny. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, that tells me that the world also thinks this is funny, that isn't legitimately funny.
Right.
So it's
both negating and giving, some fuel to it.
So dumb things that are not funny will be super popular, but also sometimes really funny things.
There'll be some crossover.
Yeah. And then it's like, so the people do know, and like the masses know, because this is telling me they know, but then they also made this popular, which is weird to me. Is like, well, what is it? Are they...
I think it's just relatable. If it's something is just a very general, relatable thing, they're like, hey, I know someone like that. Like that's my character was like Marcy, this woman who's just like a butch woman looking for a man. That's all. That's the premise. What it was, and it's just her never finding a man, and her like. And you guys know the wrestler Big Bill?
Bill.
He's from WWE. I'm trying to do a video with him tomorrow where I'm like Marcy meeting this man, but like
I don't know Big Bill, but I love wrestling.
People think that like Marcy's real. People would come to a show going, "Where's Marcy?" I'm like, I'm Marcy.
Yeah.
She's right. It's not a real person.
Does that scare you though?
No, it's stupid. I'm like, have you looked at any other fucking video of mine?
You're following
me. You just find the Marcy videos and you don't watch any of my stand-up clips.
But also, it's the same person. How do you not know? And wouldn't you be embarrassed to ask? Like,
crazy.
I can understand someone secretly thinking that, but to go to you and ask you that, like,
where's Marcy? I'm like, hold on. I put sunglasses on my head. Now I'm Marcy. It's the same fucking person. But you saying like comedy subjective. That's so funny because online I get like a lot of people, and of course men are always like women are funny, which is so I can't even get into that. But like every time someone's like, I don't find you funny, that's fine.
Fine.
I don't find you funny. I don't find everything funny either. And when people get so offended that they're like, you're not funny. Okay. I'm not for you, clearly. Like, it's so weird how people get, like, angry at that.
Do you remember when you got to a point, because you've been doing this like 20 years,
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because you're very young and you look young.
Well, the Botox is working.
Well, I mean, I think you look great. Like
38.
When I was talking about this, she said 20 years, and I go, I'm sorry, what?
I started when I was 18.
It's interesting, right? So she started when she was 18.
Yeah.
We literally talked to Captain yesterday, who's a local comedian. He started at 15.
Yeah.
He's 19 now.
He's
only been doing
it
3 years. And it's like to see like how far you've come, like how has it changed since you were 18 to now in comedy. Plus you started in Toronto.
I started in Toronto.
So very different than
very
like
different.
LA.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot. Like the social media thing, I look back now, I'm like, God, I kind of wish I was like Roseanne in the 80s and didn't have to do all this fucking social media shit. Like, honestly, looking back, because like, when I started, it was not like that. But it's slowly, and I think because I was at the point where I was getting more into it when the social media, and I jumped on real quick. I was like, oh, I have a feeling this is going to be something. So I made sure to get like, and I started in sketch and improv, so I knew how to do characters and that kind of shit. So I think I jumped on at the right time. But it's been a long, it's ever changing road.
Sure.
Yeah, the amount, like, I just hired a company to take over my social media, but it's a full-time job. I timestamp all my clips. I film every fucking thing I do. It's everything. You have to do so much stuff.
And you got to carry gear now. You got to make sure you have your phone or a camera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have
a tripod.
Massive setup that I bring. I bring a $7,000 camera like a psychopath. I don't even know. Oh, I'm in debt. I don't know what I'm doing. I bought this camera. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can barely, it's usually out of focus. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
But that's cool, though. I mean, at least you're trying. You know,
I'm trying. You have to. You have to do the clips. You have to do the podcast. You have to do everything. Like, you can't. It's a lot. I'm exhausted. People think that comics just like, we just drink every night and go home all day and fucking finger ourselves. I literally...
There are those guys
I am fingering
but then they don't ever
myself.
do anything.
No, I have a fingering schedule.
I finger myself.
I'm going to cross off my next question.
What hours do you finger yourself today?
Tom, that's confirmed fingering.
10 to 11 are fingering times.
My wife won't let me finger her, and it's my favorite thing to do. Seriously.
Is it? Ew.
I love it. I love
really?
fingering. Yeah, I love it. Look, I think it's a safe space. I feel like she's a safe person I can talk to. I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm 16. I think it's because I don't get it very often, right? It's because
no one's on your side. I feel like
no one's ever been on my side for anything.
No. But
inherently, hands and fingernails are dirty.
Even if I clean them too, I'm like, this is a fresh finger.
But you look like you have clean hands.
I do. Okay. I mean, they're clean. They're clean,
and they're small. I wouldn't mind those.
Yeah, they're little. They're not big plump fingers.
You don't need a big rusty old mitt up there.
Yeah, this guy, he's got calluses.
Steph, I have
mechanic.
Like, let's get off. This is the uncensored, but let's get back.
Well, this guy won't stop.
Yeah, he really wants to talk about fingering.
So I want to talk to you about Highland dance because
great segue.
Daniel's daughter is in competitive
dancer,
dance right now, and she and
5 days a week.
The difference is his daughter voluntarily wants to be a dancer.
And
you
what
were
kind of
forced into it.
It's everything. She's on a competitive dance team, and
like the show Dance Moms.
Yeah, like Dance Moms.
Yeah,
and she does it Monday through Friday, which is crazy. It's 5 days a week.
She works harder on dance than I do on this podcast.
It's really harder than me.
But anyway, you did Highland dance competitively from 3 to 18.
3 to 18. That's correct.
So, and Sam did tell me that it was something you didn't necessarily want to do.
Well, your mom was an
my
instructor,
mother
right?
is the teacher. So me and my sister got dragged into it at a very young age. I've always been built like my father, so that's not a dancer's body. If you're wondering what my dad looks like, stout Bulgarian man. At no point should I have been Highland dancing. It's also horrific when your mom's the teacher.
Yeah.
Because I used to have to come home on lunch breaks and practice. Like, it was fucked up, like, for a long time. Like, when I was really young, I was good when I was 9 years old, and then that year, my mom was like, "You're going to be a champion," and that really pushed me. And I was never good.
But did that make you a grinder? I go through this problem all the time with my sons.
Did that help her, because now she's tough, and so she can put in the social media, and the flights, and the podcast, and the media, and the morning shows.
Just being a professional...
Or was your childhood stolen from you because you had to work the entire time?
I think it's more leading towards that. I think it's that.
This guy's obsessed with thinking that, like, kids have to work and grind and their whole lives to be tough and have grit.
I'm panicked that they're going to get to 18, 19, and they'll be like, I don't know
you
what
just
I
really
do.
need to help, like, make them have accountability and responsibilities instead of, making like sandwiches every day.
Well, you got to make them dance on the lunch.
I started working when I was 12.
It starts with just simple chores.
You started working.
I started babysitting when I was 12. I remember I wanted a pair of these like Parasuco jeans. My mom's like, "No, we can't afford those. They're $80. Work." And I was like, "What?" So I started like babysitting at 12.
Oh, wow.
And then I got my first full-time job when I was 15 for the city of Toronto. And then my parents would go to the cottage every summer, and I'd be stuck working this summer job like
What'd
a psychopath.
you do for the city?
Wading pool, like a little kiddie pool.
No way.
Yeah, but it was
Watching
in like
the babies.
But it was in like a really ghetto neighborhood, so it was like people just assumed that we were babysitters. So they send they send their kids and like leave them there all day, and like they have no lunches, they had no sunscreen, they'd come with no shirt or shoes. So
I didn't know you could do that.
No, you can't do that. I don't know what it is. It was like government housing areas where I could tell people didn't have money, and I felt bad, so I ended up like feeding the kids half my lunch. They would do they do horrendous things. There was one time there was a pigeon and its head was cut off, and they shoved the stick in it, and then were like poking me with the bloody top. They were bad. They were bad kids. They were horrendous. Yeah, they were bad.
Yeah, people don't talk about that. Poor kids are the worst kids.
Yeah, they really are.
But they're now. It's
smell
funny.
the worst.
One of them DM'd me recently on Instagram. He's like, "I see you're doing well," and I was like, "Oh my god, are you the one who threw my keys down the well and I had to fish them out?" Like, it was so nice. But yeah, I think I just think that people. I don't know. They don't think we work hard. We work hard. Comedians work very hard, and I feel like.
Well, moving on from that, my next question is because this is a thing that I think a lot of people think that shows that we're ignorant, and I'm putting myself in this category. Like anytime I hear, like, say someone can't get a job or paperwork or like can't rent a place, and then I'm like, oh, why not? He's like, oh, it's Mexican and doesn't have a citizenship. He's coming from Mexico, and then I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense. But when I hear about the same story from someone who's Canadian, I'm like, really?
Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't happen.
But it's a different. It all matters in a different country, of course.
Yeah,
but in my mind, it's just like, oh, that Canadians don't have any problems, getting jobs here, or renting. Like, of course they do.
That was a nightmare.
Yeah,
it's an absolute nightmare. I was just saying on the car right here, it was $15,000 for a green card.
Yeah.
If it doesn't get approved, you don't get the money back. They keep it. And it's a very hard that you have to fill out 10 categories. Like 6 has to be fully filled out of the 10 green card categories. And then my green card didn't come in time, so I was working on the table for the first 3 years. And there's no cross-border credit check. So I couldn't even open a bank account. I couldn't rent an apartment. There's no, I had to get my parents' friends to sign a rent thing with me. And I had to I went to 3 banks. Finally, Bank of America. I went in and I started bawling my eyes out to this guy, Manuel. I'm like, I have money, I swear. I had screenshots of my Canadian bank account being like, I have money, but no one will fucking believe me.
Yeah.
So he's like, just see this line here, just pretend, say you make that. I'm like, I make that. And then he opened an account for me, but I was like, I couldn't get one open, so I couldn't even get it was crazy. The first 2 years in America were fucking hell.
And all that, and you're trying to become a stand-up
comedian.
And I had no car at the time, so I was biking to fucking open mics, not getting on, pissed off. It was a nightmare.
But in good shape from dancing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've always had good legs.
Yeah.
I've always had good legs.
Strong. Yeah, strong.
But let's talk about like someone doesn't do that doesn't have an internal work ethic and grind to get to accomplish a goal.
Mode.
Yeah.
But it would be easier to just go back to Canada and give up your dream, But you didn't do that.
No. I didn't do that. I also leaving America. I was like. I was always like embarrassed to go back. I'm like, that's it. I can't make this big see you Canada, I'm hilarious, and then be like, I'm a loser and come back 2 years later. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking do that. And I've always been like I wasn't good at dancing, but I was like I knew I was good at comedy, so I'm like I knew I could do this, and I was like I'm gonna. And also like there's a lot of comedians out there and I don't understand how they start. They're always like no one. They bomb on stage, and then after, no one's like, "You're funny," like, and they keep doing it. I'm like, "What?" I knew I was funny because comics thought I was funny.
Gotcha.
So comics always come in the room and watch me, and all my friends were like, "You're hilarious." Like, even if like the industry was like, "You're shit," because I was too dirty and whatever. But all the comics I looked up knew that I was hilarious, and I was like, "Oh, I'm funny then."
Yeah,
there's something here then.
There's
so like
affirmation there.
Yeah, there's something here. And now like after Bill put me on his thing, and like Bill wrote me into his movie. I'm like, and then he put me in something else. I'm like, oh, I'm funny. If fucking Bill Burr thinks I'm fucking funny, I'm fucking funny.
Like that is confusing to me because I have thought the same thing. Like when we got a comedian friend EJ, and when he was doing stand up,
be mean to him,
and he just kept doing it.
Is a interesting term.
He just kept doing it over and over, and then I'm like,
why
is anybody responding positively to this? And then,
is anybody there?
Yeah. I was like,
where are you doing?
Are any like even the other comedians or like the staff of the play? Are they telling you like, hey,
but is
keep
anyone
it going? You got something, kid?
Did anybody? Did you go up there and say, I'm doing something? Like you got to let them know, right?
Because did anybody like you have to at least have someone tell you you're doing a good job?
Yeah.
Someone.
How did you know when you wanted to like make this into a career? Like how did you? Like, is there a defining moment where you're like, you know what? I think because knowing you're funny, I guess, is one thing, but knowing that you can survive off of being funny maybe is a different kind of an animal, right?
Yeah, I think when my first Just for Laughs taping I did very well, and my parents were there. I think they were like, oh shit, this might actually be real. And then I started just doing comedy in Canada. I was like, okay, and like just slowly weaning off waitressing, but it takes a long time. And I think people like that, there's a level of delusion. I think there's also people who just really want to be a comedian. They're like, they think it looks fun. It's like I'm like,
every musician does.
Yeah,
right?
like it's a fucking nightmare. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. This like if I wasn't where I was now, I was depressed for a really long time. I was like, when I first moved to the States, I was like heavily drinking. I was having sex with a lot of disgusting people. Like it was I would do like
this is what I do.
What's the most
no
disgusting?
fingering?
But this is what I do, and I'm married, so it's just one disgusting person. But like I'm doing it.
No, I was doing like bad things. I was in a really bad headspace, and now I'm like so glad that I like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I made it through.
Did you ever wake up and have the quintessential look over and then be like,
what am I doing with my life?
Or did you leave?
I always left earlier. I always left earlier.
I always thought like I would never sleep with a disgusting person, like in actually sleep.
But you can't. You
No,
can't.
sometimes you pass out and then you wake
You
up.
can't even put yourself in this conversation, man. And you swore that I'm not allowed to say this to comedians anymore. But you're almost forcing my hand. He's only been with one person.
What? You've only had sex with one person?
You literally just ruffled her hair.
I fingered a lot.
There you go. The only reason I said that was to get him to admit that he fingers a lot because he was villainizing me. You saw that, right? He was villainizing. I'm lying.
What?
We are the Orlando Finger Brothers. We've been found. We've been found.
That's it. You've been found. You guys just finger each other in the butts.
Yeah, we do. We finger each other in the butts. It's harder for me. I'm small, so I have to stand on the lip of the
I've just been with the same girl since high school and just married, and now it's been
this
goddamn.
Is so rare.
Like, not the fingers.
I mean, it's kind of cute.
It is. I think it's cool.
But
I think it's cool.
Is it cute because you can?
It's cute if you can do it your whole life and not become a disgusting cheater and fuck over your family.
He won't. He'll never do that.
Okay.
He'll never do that. Now that I will.
I mean,
look, he does a lot of bad
shit.
Oh
no, this isn't good.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, not now, but I mean, in the future. I mean,
if they're 18
I've never been
and they
seduced.
leave. Like if my daughter is
never been
seduced.
Steph can seduce me.
Trust me, I I ain't into the seducing, okay?
Whatever you do, don't walk past him because anytime I do, he thinks I'm going to seduce.
He thinks every woman is seducing.
Yeah,
no. But what if, like, after we finish the interview, you're like, this was really fun. I really appreciate it. Most of
Let me see your fingers.
Wait, how tall are you?
Like,
you're already wearing flip-flops. I would never fuck that.
This is Florida.
We got a flight doctor coming later.
We have a podiatrist coming in today to look at his
That's
feet.
why. Really?
Yeah. Well, this is normally usually I wear the. This is Florida again. This is the Florida businessman. I'm wearing a collar shirt.
You caught us on a bad foot day because I'm wearing my orthopedics.
Anyway,
like this isn't normal for both of you.
Right.
But I'm just like, what if you're like, we start talking and you're like, come see my.
God, you're going to power through this.
I've already discussed it. You're not 6 feet tall. You're not wearing socks. It's over.
You saw that,
I'm going to try anyway.
There was a natural pause to stop that, and then you went right back to it.
So anyway, my fantasy.
Anyways, if you've done the interview, you slip into my DMs, and it's not going to happen.
And then when I go to the comedians' night at the Improv, they usually invite me back, in the green room to say hi. I know
Have you seen my act? No man wants to fuck me after I get off stage. Okay?
No, this
whole fantasy is going to be completely shot after you see my set. I don't tell you.
And then I know you squirt and you turn me around.
I regret mentioning that. I'll tell you right now. I shouldn't have fucking mentioned that.
You told Burt Kreischer.
I don't know why I did that, and I've made a huge mistake.
That was the wrong show to do that on.
It was the wrong show. The amount of psychotic DMs I've gotten from that, the amount of dick pics I've gotten from that.
I mean, this guy can't stop thinking about it.
Good God. About it all morning.
Jesus. That's why he's not wearing any fucking shoes.
You know what he told me?
He thinks I'm going to fucking squirt on the way out of here.
He washes
Walk in a
legs for
fucking
him.
puddle in here.
Yeah, he came here in Walmart bags on his feet.
Jesus.
He asked me this morning, he's like, can you
like
fix...
Burning Man walking in here.
He goes, can you fix the ice machine? I go, yeah. He goes, she squirts. I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. Why did you say that?
You know what the problem is? Is that once you talk to Burt Kreischer about it openly, I feel like it's a
I've made a huge mistake. Well, they called because I mentioned it on Your Mom's House, which I regret doing now, and then Burt didn't believe it was real, and I don't know why I had to be the one describing.
This has been a years-long argument whether or not it's real or not.
We have like bumpers for our show that were done by a DJ in Atlanta that are anti-squirt, that are pro-squirt.
Anti-squirt.
Yeah, we've been we've been in the squirt universe for a while. Floating around
the squirtaverse, okay.
Skeins fluid or whatever the hell it is.
Let's talk Steph Infections.
Yes.
Your podcast. Because
please, God.
It's a brilliant idea.
It really is a great idea.
I do like it and prefer it when like a talented person does a podcast about a specific topic, because I feel like if you just make it general, then you fall into like everybody else. But
and then you talk about how you start comedy the whole time. It's the same thing, especially with comedians. The same conversation.
It's just jumping off point. It's the same thing, but there's like a topic, and then you can show your comedy through the show, obviously, because you're not just going to only talk about this and be like, next infection.
Yeah.
So, what's the weirdest you've had so far?
Oh my God, I'd say actually Brittany Furlan's episode. If you know her, she was huge on Vine. She married Tommy Lee.
Yep.
Her episode is she almost died when she was 18. She's had every fucking disease. She told an insane story how her and Tommy Lee went and got full body scans, and his came back completely negative, and she's like head to toe tumors. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her.
Tommy Lee was 100% positive.
100%, nothing wrong with him.
One big tumor.
Yeah, literally.
Not even hepatitis.
Yeah.
Not even hepatitis.
Your dick is all cancer.
Yeah, I mean, when it's that big, it probably has something in it.
Life is not fair.
But yeah, hers and like all the porn star ones are really amazing because they're so open.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they are so like, answering any question I have, and they're like, because it's
part of the business.
It's part of the business. So they're
clinical.
Incredible.
It's like what they do.
But
everybody, I started this podcast because, like, especially with comedians, everyone has like a weird body thing that is funny usually, but they don't want to talk about it on stage because they're not good for like a stage bit or whatever. But I always have something wrong with me, not the squirting, but I always have something like going on. Like I have right now, I'm allergic to the sun, and I have this weird this hand rashes. I can't be in the sun too long, or I blister.
No way.
I blister like 3rd-degree burns.
Blister is like really?
Yeah, it's oh yeah, I can't be in the sun. I'm going to be in the shade the whole time here.
Oh my God, we have to protect you. Get a tarp.
Yeah,
because all we got is sun.
I know, it's
That's
fine.
Imagine if you weren't born in Canada, by the way. You'd be really screwed.
Yeah.
There's no sun up there. There's a lot of sun. No, if I was born here, I'd be dead.
I'm just saying that it's easier to stay inside as opposed to
it's nicer.
Florida.
It's a nicer place. place.
But what is that? Is that some?
It's called polymorphic sun eruption, and I found out I had it more recently, and I have some other and also the podcast, because I've had this weird thing on my hand. I figured out what it was. One of the listeners, the doctors couldn't figure out what it was, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, so I have. It's really insane. People message in with and people, if you want to listen to podcasts,
to you.
Also send in your body stories, because I read out loud people's body stories, and there's crazy shit that's happened to people. It's really wild, and a lot of people feel better about themselves listening to it, because they find things they had they didn't realize. Somebody's like, I just found out I had a hernia from listening to one of your episodes. I'm like, I'm glad I'm diagnosing people and doctors aren't. It's bizarre, but yeah.
No, I'm a hypochondriac, so I don't know.
No, I am too, but it does
you
help.
are?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're one and you approve it, then I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's only the first 5 minutes. The only first 5 minutes I'll have what she has, but then I'll work. It works.
And then when you hear people fully explain it, you'll realize you don't have it, and then it'll make you feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'll subscribe.
Now,
that sounds great.
Listen, every time I'm going to go with Daniel to the beach, he's going to be like, yeah!
Yeah. I'm like, it's hard to get. The sun is getting me.
Yeah. How often do you do it?
Weekly.
The podcast?
Yeah, I have 120 episodes. I got a lot of big people coming out.
And do you just pre-record them so they come out weekly?
Yeah,
so
I bank a lot because I'm on the road for the next fucking 3 months.
You're
so
pretty much. Smart. I love watching people when they got it all together. That is awesome.
And it kind of makes sense, because I've seen comedians cancel or stop their podcast because when they go on tour, and then it's man, you should have come up with an idea that you could bank something or
do it from the road if you can. I mean, but like you said, it's hard. There's so many other hats you got to wear. That it's almost impossible to do everything.
How would you get involved with Bill Burr and the whole Netflix special?
So it's funny because I did a show with him right for the pandemic, and I think he didn't remember me. I also looked very different. I didn't have this hair. I was 30 pounds heavier, and it was one of those 20 or 30 comics in one day. He met us all really quickly, so I don't think he registered, whatever. And then he literally saw this video of mine on Instagram when I was in New York promoting a show where I made fun of New Yorkers. I was like, hey, I'm walking here. Hey, my dog's shitting over here. And I was just doing stupid shit. And he saw it and reshared it. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, why do I have 500 new followers overnight, which was rare. I was like, the fuck? And so I looked at it. I'm like, Bill Burr shared my story. So I was like, don't be weird. But I'm like, DM him. I'm like, just DM him back and thank him.
What did you say?
So I waited.
It?
So I was with my buddy Alex Pavone, who's hilarious, who's actually opening for me this weekend.
Very cool.
And he's like, you say something. You have to say something. He's like, don't be weirdo about it. So I waited 2 hours and I wrote, hey, Bill, thanks for sharing my story. I really appreciate it. Yeah. And then he hearted it and then wrote, you had me crying over here. So he quoted my bit. And I was like, so I hearted it. And I'm like, put your phone away. Because I could be
take a break.
Put it away. Don't be stupid.
Take a break.
Yeah.
You might be like, this guy seducing me. Tell him about your son.
So listen, you're going to suck my dick after the show. No, I'm not. But he literally was he wrote back an hour later being like, hey, would you want to open for me on the road? And I was like, I literally was like, this is on my birthday, two years ago.
On your birthday?
On my
be
birthday.
Cool, man. Be
and
cool.
I was I'm I'm losing my fucking mind right now.
That's awesome.
And then I was like, yeah. So he asked for my phone number, and then 2 weeks after that, I was back in LA, and I was about to take my dog on a hike. And I remember my manager called me. She's like, "Hey, are you can you listen for a second?" I was like, "You're either firing me or the biggest thing in the world is about to happen to me." And she's like, "Bill asked if you would do his Netflix special," and I was like, "Huh?" And then that was it. And then I did the special, and then I did very well, and Bill was backstage laughing at me. Then I opened for him a couple times in Toronto and Salt Lake City, and then he wrote me into his movie, which is fucking cool as hell.
Fucking great.
It's honestly the coolest thing ever. Having someone like that write a character. He literally sent me a voice memo being like, "Hey, I don't know if you were in town." Was not in town. I was like, "I'm there." I was in Denver. I was like, I will fucking run there if I have to. I was like, "I'm there," and he's like, "I wrote this character. It's just this. It was literally just me. I played myself. It's just a small role, but yeah."
That is awesome.
Did you save the voicemail?
The voicemail, no. But I have one thing of him doing a podcast about me. Someone sent me of him saying this insane compliment about me.
I'm big on stuff like that, saving it for posterity.
I would never post it. I'm not a psycho being like, listen to this. It's for me. Whenever I have a bad set or something, I listen to it and I go, okay. Or sometimes I get trolled really bad online. Well, most women do, but because I don't look like a classic blonde, pretty. I'm like,
guys,
I get it. Guys like, oh, the penguin from fucking Batman. Yeah. I know I look like the penguin from Batman. Don't think I have made 48 jokes about that.
I get penguin from Batman.
Oh, I get all the time. I have a big nose. I put this here, you fucking psychos. I was like, oh, I want a bigger nose when I moved to LA. Shut the fuck up.
You're too confident. I think.
Literally, it's fucking crazy. So anytime I get trolled badly, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I have this voice memo I can listen to. I'm like, yeah, it's
That's fucking
nice.
great, man. I love
It's very
that.
nice. Yeah, Bill's and he's very nice. He's a nice man.
I wish I could be a dream maker. I'll never be that. Like I try all the time.
For some people.
No.
Remy says you're his hero.
Yeah,
I mean, you are for the unfortunates that listen
You
to
are
our
for the men who
program.
are probably still virgins going, I can have sex with one woman?
No, I'm just saying, with one decision, you could change someone's life and make their dream come true, like Bill Burr did, and I'll never be able to do that.
I literally said that to his face too. I'm like, I don't think you understand what you did for my career. You were doing great. I'm like, no, man. I'm like, I was doing fine. I was like headlining. I was like moving my way up, whatever. But he like jump started it.
Oh, he
and,
knows.
Like,
I mean, he knows the business. Like for him to offer you that opportunity, he's a dream maker.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, which I feel like is a little selfish. Just saying. I feel like to Bill Burr.
It's so nice.
He's doing it just to make someone's dream come true.
He does it with a lot of people.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
really
know.
nice. He does it.
Awesome
He supports
feeling.
a lot of like up and comers and like he has
It's very
people over.
punk
I'm like,
rock, like helping out your friends.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because it's also like it's that thing. I'm like, if I ever got to that like that's why I have like I bring my two openers, Pat Bircher and Alex Pavone, with me on the road, who are so funny, who should be known more, but they're not. But I'm like, I'm trying to help. I want to help all these people because there's so many funny people that no one knows about because
there's just so many people.
Yeah.
And I'm making a joke, and the comedians have done that for a while. Where if someone comes up, they'll usually have.
I mean, Adam Sandler's made a living. All his friends make a living off of him.
I literally, I would love to be the female Adam Sandler because I'm like, I want to act more. I'm like, if I could just do that and write movies and just literally cast my friends, that's all I want to fucking do.
That's what I wanted to ask you. You started. Would it be correct to say you started with stand up and then kind of moved into like doing improv like professionally and then went back to stand up, or was stand up always a part of you when you were doing like improv and characters and sketches and stuff like that? Because you can do both sort of seamlessly and both top tier very well. Because
Thank you.
From what is it, Lady Stash?
Yeah,
I knew from that.
Oh,
so
shit.
like, did you like? Because like and there's always the guys that are like stand up guys hate improv guys. Like there's some of that weirdness that I'm not. I'm neither. So I don't live in that world.
Yeah.
But I love both. Is there one you like better than the other, or do you like being able to do both?
I like being able to do both, but I started in like improv for 4 years, and then I was kind of doing stand up a little bit, and then I got super into sketch.
You got the bug,
and then I got the bug, and then I was doing. Then I realized that those don't pay and stand up pays. So I was like, okay, we have to do stand up.
Right.
But I miss like Alison Hogg, my sketch partner. We're actually writing a TV show that we're pitching in Canada right now.
Hell yeah,
yeah. Because I miss doing sketch with her. Like when you find someone that you can act with on stage that well and like that naturally.
Sure.
It's like also like being on stage laughing with somebody is so fun.
It's very rare too.
And we're like it's very loose. Our sketch was very like loosely. We'd have like a premise and like improvise around it, and it was just like fun as hell.
Yeah, that's dope.
It probably helps you with the social media too, right?
Oh yeah, and that helped with like, especially improv. So improv helps me with my crowd work because like people are like, "How do you do crowd work?" I'm like, I started by just making shit up. Like that's how it all started.
Yeah, and you were schooled in that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like correct. Were you taking the correct acting classes and ways to improv and Meisner and like all
I took
these
a lot
different
of shit.
things?
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome, though.
Yeah.
Like, do you think any of that helps you as much as just getting out there and being you and doing it?
No, I think just getting up there and doing it. Like when people are, because I did go into Humber College and did a 2-year comedy program, but I'm like, what the hell? Some feather? I'm a bird.
I just changed that too.
Like,
this thing is brand new. I just want you to know this is brand new.
I think just if you're thinking being a comedian or stand up especially, it's just getting up as much as you fucking can and doing as many sets. Like I was every night minimum trying to get up or getting up. Like it's crazy the amount. I wish I like wrote down how many sets I've done in my lifetime because it's insane.
And there's just no substitute for reps like that, right?
No.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll invent some, like in quarterbacks use like VR now to train because
that's
like
weird.
looking at
You mean like VR like crowd and then she can strap that on?
like I wonder if
God.
you could do because then you could just sit in your house and just train.
Fucking stupid.
That sounds so awful.
They tried that with
There's
Zoom.
No way.
Yeah,
that's
like
not
Zoom shows.
You bombing on VR is not going to be the same as you. Bombing is you need to experience that in a large group of people to feel the shame and the embarrassment and like, oh, what have I done with my
Now it would
What
be.
if
Now,
the AI audience could tell you're bombing or like you can
They're
respond?
booing you.
They'll do that. I bet you they'll do that. But seeing it, like I'm both anti the idea, but I'm also I would like to be a part of that. Like if there was a comedian that filmed themselves bombing from that perspective, I would like
That's
to.
an interesting.
It would be an interesting thing to put the. It's not a terrible idea. I just don't want it to be live action. I just want to experience it.
Okay,
like a movie. Like I'm watching a movie.
The only reason the quarterback started utilizing it is because there was no other way for the quarterbacks to read the live defenses. And stuff
and
like
get that field of view.
So it was them like just getting through the reps. It afforded them to do like 5 more hours of reps a week doing the VR. So I was just like, could comedians in the future, like an AI audience, responding?
Comedians of the future.
So you don't have to go out to open mics and do the hustle.
No, you need to. Don't be telling these open micers. They have to get the fuck out there. I did just do.
I'm trying to find the laziest way to do it.
No. I just did I just laughed. So I did a surrounded taping, which is an all crowd work show. They did it in VR. So Meta. Made this. They like put people. So they're going to be people us doing crowd work.
Yeah.
And you can feel like you're sitting in the crowd looking at people. So I'm curious how that's going to come out and look. It should be out in like a few months.
Have you dabbled with any of the VR stuff?
No,
have you seen any of the porno or any of that?
Yeah, my friend, that's like the classic base. Oh, we want to see VR, and he puts it on. It's a guy sucking the guy's dick. And I'm like, oh, there it is.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. That's all you do.
90% of people that have tried it on, put it on, and then load up the dick.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right.
I don't like when I look down and the body type is not mine.
Yeah.
You need this, though, because you need experience with somebody else.
Well, they should have done the math where, like, the people that are watching this, they
got to put a larger bottom.
You know what? I'm just putting this together because we did this here in the studio, and the first VR you guys showed everybody in here was Riley Reid squirting.
Yeah, it was Riley Reid. It was Riley Reid squirting.
You're into squirting.
I'm just saying, why not make...
But only VR squirting. Only VR squirting.
You need to make the VR actor fat with a tiny wiener. I'm just like, that's what 90%.
If you there,
90% of your audience,
you got to make the waist like closer to a 40. You know, for the guys, because when you do look down, it disappears. Everything disappears.
No, it's a skinny guy fit in a giant dong.
No, mine stops at the dong, and when you keep looking, there's nothing down there.
No legs.
Yeah, there's no legs.
Oh, really? I see the whole body.
I haven't. Well, I haven't done it. This guy.
He's
This
got the upgrade.
Seems like he's a
every afternoon.
Yeah,
he got the upgrade.
So we're in the green room, and there's a shower in there. A lot of people don't know. There's a shower in the green room at the Improv.
A lot of towels.
And that's what
And if you want to see her at the Improv, theimprovorlando.com for all of your tickets. Wear your Tom and Dan gear if you go there, because how else are people supposed to know that you heard it on us?
Yeah, Steph, we want to plug your social media and all
Please.
that.
Yes, it's just please follow me on Instagram at Steph Tolev. That's where I post all my shit, and that's where I get less shadow banned. So don't follow me on TikTok.
All the links are in the bio.
All my links are in my bio. Come see me. Yeah, Orlando tonight, Tampa this weekend.
Yeah, Tampa peeps, come on out. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks
we really
for having
appreciate
me.
it. Enjoy your time in Orlando. Try not to sweat. Guys, we'll see you on the regular show.